Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. This is really a breaking news video. Today is May 15th, 2023. To be honest with you, when you see this video, it'll probably be May 16th because I'm honestly filming this at night. That's how important this video is. And tomorrow, I'm going to be on a big jet plane flying to Sedona. I am so grateful. I'm so honored to be a part of Linda G's event in Sedona and so many amazing and talented people that I'm going to be presenting along with. It's really and truly something I never thought possible. So you can imagine that 1 minute I'm ironing and packing, and the next minute, here I am coming to you across the airways. That's how important this is. I didn't want to wait days or even a week to get back to you about this. This is going to break big, this news. As you can see, I probably put it in the headline. Rudy Giuliani is being accused of selling pardons, presidential pardons at $2 million a pop. And according to the witness, Rudy Giuliani was splitting this with Trump. So that's, look, that's on some level, we probably all knew that this was happening, or this isn't all that surprising in some weird universe that we've been living in for the last 5 or 6 years. But I'm going to give you guys a heads up. This woman who recorded conversations, she has text, and frankly, she was there in the room listening to these phone calls. This woman has got all the dirt. Probably not all the dirt. Roger Stone probably has all the dirt. Mike Pence, a lot of these people have got a lot of dirt. But wherever Trump interacted or intercepted with Rudy Giuliani, this woman has the goods. Now, it's really unfortunate. I want to give you a heads up about this as well, because this woman who was his assistant, I don't know all the details, but I know enough. And the source is, the source is court documents, public court documents. Okay. Come on. That's a pretty big source. That's a pretty trustworthy source. But this woman that worked for Rudy Giuliani, he was representing her as her attorney from having been sexually molested or abused. And as often happens, Rudy Giuliani, allegedly, according to her accusations, started sexually abusing her. It's very complicated. There's consent is, of course, these MAGAs are going to say that she consented, but I think in the end, after the E. Jean Carroll case, I think we understand. When I say we, I mean, honestly, the citizens of America are starting to really, truly wake up to the absolute horrible, mind-blowing horribleness of these people. The things that are written in this court document are shocking, truly shocking, to the degree that the reporter that I follow said, I've been doing this a long time and I couldn't finish the public court documents. She couldn't finish the public court documents because the accusations were so horrible. So, what I would tell you guys is this. I see Trump going down. I see Rudy Giuliani going down. I see Matt Gaetz. I see Boebert. I see MTG. I see Jeff Hawley, Meadows. Think of the name. I see them going down. the thing is, I couldn't ever really understand how they would go down, right? Like in some cases, I have some pretty good ideas about it, whether it's money laundering or the Jan 6. But, and I've said this before, even the psychics are going to be surprised. Even the psychics are going to be in shock at these things. It's mind-blowing. Truly, it's mind-blowing. And so going back to the fact that he sold pardons, of course, this is just another log on the fire of the funeral pyre of Donald Trump, right? This is not even surprising at this point. There's going to be more, there's going to be more, and there's going to be more. But the thing that I think that is going to become just a real problem for Donald Trump and for a lot of these guys is that women are going to start coming out of the woodwork after the courageousness of E. Jean Carroll. They're going to come out of the woodwork and they're going to say, me too, except for they're going to say it in a courtroom. And I promise you, I promise you, I just saw, allegedly and for entertainment purposes only, Mike Pence. I don't know what kind of thing he was into, but he was into something. This is going to get really sordid and really ugly really quickly. And they're reminding me, right, that the whole Madison Cawthorn, right, debacle, where he had the audacity to actually speak out loud about these cocaine-fueled orgies that he said the Republicans were known for. But if you recall, he had photos of him in fishnet stockings and in some kind of bustier. Now, those photos came out after he accused the Republican Party of having cocaine-fueled orgies. And I believe that was a hit job. They brought those photos out and they sent him packing. Remember, the Republicans really operate on this system of, I've got something on you, you've got something on me, checkmate, right? That way, nobody goes to the feds, nobody goes to the press because everybody's got skin in the game, so to speak, right? It's the same idea of secret societies. It's the same idea of the mob, right? Once you've killed somebody, you're a criminal. So you might as well keep on criming because there's nothing you're going to do about that, right? So it's this energy of, number one, being above the law, being above not only the law, but I hasten to use a word like morality because they've used these words against, so many people. Right? They've decided their morals are better than everybody else's morals, but it turns out they're the real freaks. These people are the freaks for real. So you could probably look up, if you're on Twitter, you can look up Mueller, she wrote, Mueller, like Mueller, the investigator, she wrote, and she's a journalist and she posts things on Twitter. Otherwise, you could probably look up the Rudy Giuliani court document. Let me see if I don't know if I can find her name quickly, but she's got all the goods, where she doesn't have text or photos or recordings. She was in the room. She was in Rudy Giuliani's office when these things were talked about. She heard Rudy Giuliani tell her that Trump had a plan to fake that the election was stolen. She's bringing it all. She's going to be lighting up Jack Smith's bingo card. He's going to be going bingo, bingo, bingo. She's going to be bringing the evidence. And I really think the sordid details of her accusations are going to turn people off. I feel like Republicans are going to get turned off, and I feel like moderates are going to get really disgusted, and Democrats are going to be super disgusted, right? And I think that disgusting energy is just going to, it's almost like, again, I don't know why the guides want to use this analogy of a fire burning brighter and brighter, right? Throwing more logs on the fire. This is certainly throwing more logs on the fire of the irritation and the anger that is happening amongst Democrats and even moderate Republicans. If nothing else, the fact that this is going to prove that Trump's sold pardons is really, in some ways, the guides are saying this is a real threat to the establishment, to the presidency, to the executive office. This, and they're saying, Nixon was a threat, right? That was a threat. Bill Clinton getting what he got in the Oval Office. I mean, that was a threat. We have threats. We deal with things. This is a living, breathing country with humans that have free will, and the documents that guide us are quite old. And we're here now to reimagine all of it. And you recall that the spirit guides were often saying dissolution, dissolve. They kept talking all last year. I don't even know when that was, but seemed like every video, dissolving, dissolution, dissolution. Here we are. And I know that the astrology also supports this idea of foundations dissolving. I'm talking big foundations. I'm talking that we're going to have to look at our executive branch. We know we're going to have to look at our SCOTUS. We know we're going to have to look at our judicial branch. We're going to have to look at the checks and balances in the Senate and the House. Nothing is working. Everything is broken right now. And we need to get in there and fix it. And I feel like the light is just going to continue shining, this intense light on the depravity, the criminality of these people, until the American people say, that's it. We've had it. We can't take any more of this. It's again, this hitting rock bottom. Do you remember the guides kept saying, what will the humans do? It's our choice. This bad thing happened. What will they do? This bad thing happened. They would say, what will they choose? Well, then they just started saying, we needed to get to the rock bottom. And you guys, right now, the reason I'm doing this video is because we are in an elevator where the cables have been cut and we're plummeting to the bottom. But this isn't a bad thing, in my opinion. This is a good thing. We need, if we're going to repair, if we're going to fix, if we're going to get out of this and make ourselves a better country, then for the love of God, we need to see how bad it is. We really need to see it. Heck, we might need to roll around in it. We may really need to do that to finally just be broken and say, I'm broken. This is broken. This country is broken. We're disgusted. We're disgusted with the gun violence. We're disgusted with what these states are doing to hurt their own citizens. We're disgusted that our president sold pardons. We're disgusted that he's a convicted sex criminal, right? I mean, it's too much. It's too much for Americans. I think Americans, I don't know why they're showing me the 1950s, right? Where we came through a lot of, 2 wars, and instead we just said, whoopee, everything is great, right? Let's all buy that new car. Let's all buy that house. Let's welcome the GIs home, and let's, America's apple pie and freedom, right? I think honestly, we probably could have dealt with a lot of problems that we had at that point. specifically with our Native American population, specifically with how we treated Black and other minority GIs, right? How women were treated. I mean, it wasn't some Disneyland. We had real problems, but we shellacked over it and said, we're a great place. We're a great place, right? So that's kind of what the guides are saying, is we've been shellacking over these real problems. And here they are. The chickens are coming home to roost. And I'm happy for this because we really get to deal with it. Now, as far as Trump and his pardons, this, again, the guides are telling me, get in line, right? Like Jack Smith is getting ready to hit on these top secret documents. Also, there's something with a foreign country. You know, I've often seen this with Trump, the selling of something to a foreign country. Maybe, I don't think it's treason. There's some other term for it. It's not, I don't think it's going to meet, you know, the level that it needs to meet for treason, but it is something that he's done because we're not at war with that country, right? So the country that he sold it to, we're not at war with them. So it's not treason, but it's something, there's another term for it I can't quite get. Let me just say, Trump is going down the tubes. He's going down the tubes so fast that unfortunately he's going to plug up our plumbing, right? I mean, if we could just soften him up a little bit, put some butter and some oil on him, we could slide him on through there. But this guy is going to get stuck, you know? But really and truly, what this pardon mess is going to do is it's going to have us, now this takes 3 years, I feel like, but it's going to have us go through our executive branch, literally go through the Constitution and the amendments. Truly, we're going to go through that thing. We're going to take it out. We're going to blow off the dust. We're going to spiffy it up. And then we're going to modernize it. And we're also going to make a pledge that this is 2023. We need to agree that it's normal to modernize this document and to modernize it frequently. We cannot go into the 2030s with a document that is not up to date. We have so many things coming at us so quickly. We really need to know what the laws are. We really need to make sure that our laws and our amendments and our Constitution, or the amendments to the Constitution, reflect what the American people are dealing with. So I think this is good. I think it's powerful. I think it's going to shift the energy even more so. It's going to continue to shift the energy. You're going to have hit after hit after hit like this all summer long, one after another, after another, after another. And we don't need all of them to take Trump out. We just need 1 or 2, 3 that Smith and Fani Willis are cooking up right now, that are getting close to level at Trump. And that's when you're going to see things get really interesting, because when you read, if you wanted to read some of the statements by Rudy Giuliani, you can pretty much see that Trump knew what he did was criminal. He also knew that he was likely going to be held accountable criminally for it. And he talked about ways to get out of it. She actually was there when they were talking about Mueller and the Mueller investigation and how to affect the investigation, how to distract him, how to slow it down. This is big. This is really, really big stuff. It's important. And isn't it interesting that it's another woman? All these women, the feminine, the divine feminine is coming forward in all of the women and the men, because men can exhibit divine feminine. It doesn't make that you're gay or whatever. It means that we all have in us masculine and feminine. And it really should be in balance. When it's out of balance is when you have a problem, right? So these men are going to be starting to balance their masculinity better with their feminine side. And they're also going to come in and help. So a few more things now. So I don't know if you're asking, like, what is the charge? I mean, right now they're talking about bribery being a charge because obviously he took money and bribed. Trump was smart to allow Rudy Giuliani to do most of this, but there's no denying that Trump didn't take the money. There's no denying that Trump didn't benefit from this. I mean, I think he gave 72 pardons or something like that is what I read. If that's 72 million in Trump's pocket, 72 million in Rudy Giuliani's pocket. And yet Rudy Giuliani was just telling the judge last week that he didn't have the money to do what the judge was asking him to do. These people are beyond the pale criminal. Just the Democrats are also waking up and they're realizing that they almost lost the farm being democracy. They're over there trying to play like, I'm going to take the high road, right? I'm going to take the high road. Well, that's wrong. There is no high road at this point. If you want democracy, it's fisticuffs. You've got to fight. This is the time to get busy. This is the time to put, whatever that gentlemanly, senatorial, a congressperson BS aside. This is the time to get it done. And I think you're starting to see that in the Democrats and certainly in Joe Biden. I also read that he suggested to the state of Alabama that he may not be he may not be allowing the federal government to give a grant that the state of Alabama was getting to build a plant there. I don't remember the kind of plant. I don't think it was I don't think it was an airplane plant, but it was a plant. And Biden is saying, hey, we don't want to invest in a state that doesn't respect human and women's rights. We don't want nothing with that. So if you're not going to allow women to get abortions, then we're not going to be we're not going to be supporting you with this money. Now that's playing hardball. That's what I'm here for. Biden has very few options, but he does have a few options. And I'm glad to see him playing hardball. Okay, Alabama, y'all want to act crazy? Fine, go act crazy by yourself. We'll take this money over here and we'll give it to this blue state, right? That this is what we have to do. And we have to stand up to these Republicans that are going to hue and cry and say, unfair, unfair. I'm tired of that BS. You can yell unfair. It's like having a kid having a meltdown. Just sit in a corner and cry it out, buddy. When you're done crying, come over here and have a talk with me. We'll talk, right? Because this is going way too far. So the other thing that's also really interesting. Oh, yes. Also, I wanted to mention to you that Illinois governor, do you remember this? The Illinois governor, Blagojevich, he went to jail for attempting to sell Obama's Senate seat. There's precedent for this, folks. Trump is history. His crimes, this is what I'm trying to explain. His crimes will make America rethink America. We will rethink the entire executive branch. We really will. We will put in all types of watchdog checks and balances. We really will. And it will be specifically bipartisan or nonpartisan, because this was close. This was close. We really almost lost it. Now, people are asking if the pardons are going to be illegal now. And I don't know. The problem is the things that Trump has done, there's most of it, there's no precedent. We don't know what the courts will rule. And we know the courts, even though they're doing a lot better, they're not particularly trustworthy to be fair and neutral. So I'm not worried about, right. So the majority of those people that got pardons are going to go down for other crimes. So it's not going to save them at all. It's not even going to save them a couple of years off their sentence. They're going down anyway because they're criming. They're criminals. And criminals just don't do one criminal act and then say, oh, I didn't like that, I'm not going to do that again. Think of George Santos, right? Think of Donald Trump. So it doesn't matter to me I feel like I'm seeing this truth commission that comes, and Trump may be gone. He may be off of this plane of existence, but this truth commission goes in and examines everything. And then they decide, and maybe not Trump's presidency is struck, from the records, because you've got judges. I mean, you've got things that you can't undo. You've got money, not money, but I mean, really and truly laws he signed into existence. I mean, you just can't go back and undo all of that. Right. So I kind of feel like he's going to be, they just called him a Benedict Arnold. He's going to be like, instead of having his portrait up, there's going to be a black square. Like, we're going to own it. We're going to own it. We're going to say, here's Obama. Here's a black square. Here's Biden. We're going to own it in that way. But I don't think they're going to go back and literally undo his SCOTUS picks or whatever. I think that those people are going to be taken care of in a different way because they're still criminals. Okay. Now, the other thing that I think is really good to mention here is, and I just read today that Biden now has an opportunity to remove 2 people from the postal board, from DeJoy's postal board from hell. So he is looking at his picks. He's getting ready. I don't know what the timeline is with this, but it is now time for action. How interesting that all of this is sort of picking up speed now, right? The energy is finally like going forward and carrying us towards justice. So I think DeJoy is going to be out of that office by the fall. And the damage is done. I mean, he's done an incredible amount of damage. And that's another dissolution. That's another dissolution of one of our institutions. And that's okay. There's no reason for any of us, in my opinion, to be crying and upset, because that, first of all, doesn't fix anything. It doesn't do anything. Second of all, we have got to stop the bleeding. If you want to use that analogy, if your patient is bleeding out on the floor, going over there in the corner and crying and saying nothing ever works and we don't ever get anything and everything is screwed up, that ain't going to save the patient. So get yourself together and let's save the patient. The patient is the United States of effing America. Okay. So we're going to roll our sleeves up. We're going to get busy. We're going to do what we can to hold people accountable. Now, here's the thing that I need to tell you, and I think I'm going to just end it after this, is that everything, and I didn't understand what they meant when they said this. This is what I'm saying. You can't wrap your human head around the stuff that's happening, right? But they told me the way forward is through laws on the books, like we need some more laws. Apparently, we don't have enough laws. Donald Trump and his gang was able to drive a semi truck through the amendments of the Constitution. We need more laws. But until we get them, we need to take the ones we have, and then we need to apply them to these criminals. So that is what's going to happen, kids. All of the people that I'm telling you about, all the people in the Senate and in Congress, the various people like Meadows and Eastman and Giuliani and Trump, they will be brought down because they broke a law. We're going to find a law that they broke, and then we're going to take them to court, and then we're going to convict them. Okay? That is what we have. That is our game plan. End of story. So the reason this is important is because, again, here's the game plan. We started with Santos. The guides told you Santos was going to be gone. People were like, no, they'll never get rid of him. He's going to be gone. He is really going to be gone. So he's number one. These other Congress people and a few senators are going to be gone as well. They're going to be. Now, of course, here's the thing, Republicans, the rules state that you can serve in the Congress and in the Senate if you are indicted, because guess what? In America, everybody's innocent until proven guilty. Now, if you were a Democrat, you would step down in shame, but we all know that's not going to happen with the Republicans. So we have to wait until they're indicted, okay? Or until they cause so much trouble and pain for those other Republicans that they get thrown out, just the way they did Madison Cawthorn. You guys, they could wake up tomorrow, just like they did Tucker Carlson. We could wake up tomorrow and find out that the Republicans were like, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. We don't need all this because they're investigating you. Pretty soon they're going to get to me, So they're going to be cutting that line. They're going to be cutting those people loose. So this is how this works. The laws, the laws that have been broken, the people that broke the laws, they're going to be indicted and they're going to be convicted. They're going to be out of Congress. Now, next step is everybody in Congress and in the Senate starts going, holy smackdown. I better mind my P's and Q's. I don't want to be next. And so they're going to start holding hands with the Democrats and literally singing Kumbaya. And they're going to pass bills. And these bills are going to hold these crazy states in some sort of line. Because I don't see the states coming to their own senses and fixing their own problems. I actually see them getting worse. Well, we've seen it with DeSantis. We've seen it with Governor Abbott. We've seen it. We've seen it with these red states. It's truly unbelievable. The laws they're passing are just not even, if we were to tell each other 4 years ago or even 6 years ago, yeah, in 2023, these states are going to be passing laws that a doctor cannot treat you for any reason. Like if you're Muslim, I'm not going to treat you. If you're gay, not going to treat you. If you're Black, not going to treat you. No, I'm not going to do that. And I don't have to because my governor said I don't have to. If we said that to each other, even 3 years ago, we would be like, you're crazy. We're here in crazy land, in crazy town. So how do we get out of this? The feds come in and pass these laws that are over all of the states. Think about seatbelts. You don't have to put your seatbelt on when you go to a blue state and then take it off when you go to a red state. Federal. They're going to pass laws that are going to just basically create some sort of normalcy throughout the whole United States. And these states are going to be losing some of their rights. But they've proven that they can't govern for the best good of their own citizens. So they deserve to lose those rights, right? So This is how we're going to get out of this. This is what the guides have always been telling me. They've been telling me this for over a year. Over a year, they've been telling me this. And I'm clinging to it with everything, because this is the only way I think we can get out of it, right? Because the Republicans aren't going to do anything on their own. The Democrats can only do so much. But if you broke a law, Jack Smith can do a lot. Fonnie Willis can do a lot, right? So they wanted to talk. Oh, one more last little thing. It's not a little thing. It's a great big thing. Ukraine. Oh my God. They're getting ready for their offensive. But I have to tell you guys that Ukraine, the energy around Ukraine right now is immense. It's as if they're just huge. They're super powerful. They're quick. They're elite. Their army is elite. They're quick. They're well armed. They're well trained. Their mind is in the game. They're taken care of. They have a heart. They're doing this because of their heart, because this is their land. They're going to run right over Russia. Literally flatten them. I kid you not. It's going to be so bad that this is the thing that I want to warn you a little bit about. It's going to be so bad that some countries are going to say, and I swear to God, it makes me mad every time I have to say this, but some countries are going to say, it's not fair. Make Ukraine stop. Okay, so they've won. Make them stop. Make them stop. Now they're taking advantage of a weak army and a weak situation. And that makes me furious, because who was saying make them stop when Russia was bombing Ukraine and killing their citizens, and specifically trying to bomb civilian areas? But you're going to hear that. You're going to hear that. You're going to hear people say, okay, Ukraine, you're taking it too far. It's going to be a rout, is what I just heard. Now, on the Russia side, what you're going to see is a really big false flag. You're going to see Russia blow itself up, blow up. Where is Kaliningrad or Kaliningrad? I don't know. They're going to blow up some city, and they're going to blame Ukraine for it. And it's going to be destruction, and it's going to be death, and it's going to be horrible. And they're going to blame Ukraine, and they're going to hope to flip the script. You know what I mean? That Ukraine, and again, it just shows you how completely mind screwed we all are, that this is even a possibility. It's almost like, how could anybody think that it's bad for Ukraine to go, even if they did, which they're not going to, but even if they did, how could that be a bad thing? Right? I mean, it's crazy, but that's what they're going to do. So you might, if it gets bad enough, you might also see, this is what I'm seeing. You might also see that, you might also see that Putin has been, offed, unalived, and they may make some big show of his body or and they'll have Ukrainian soldiers dressed up. They'll have Russian soldiers dressed up in Ukrainian clothes. It's all fake. Even the fact that Putin is dead is fake. I don't think at that point that he's dead. He has there's many fake Putins. You can tell them apart. I swear to you. They don't even look like him. They've got jowlier jowls. I mean, Putin has a very chiseled jawline, so, but I do see everything falling apart. So this summer, you're kind of just see things falling apart, dissolution, right? So I think if you can be prepared to see that, if you can be prepared that the patient is on the floor bleeding out and we need to attend to it, and keep your wits about you, and keep your sanity about you, and know that this isn't the end. This is not the end. It is the breaking down of some institutions that are rotten, because the core is rotten. The foundation is rotten. And you know what? If that thing needs to fall over so that we can fix that foundation, then that's what needs to happen. Okay. So I just think going forward, you're just going to see some pretty big stories, some and honestly, and more, sadly to say, but more infighting. I don't think that these Republicans at this point are going to be singing Kumbaya. I think that they're going to be fighting. They have a lot to fight for. It's either fight or go to prison. You might as well fight on your way there, right? So they're going to put up a pretty big fight about all of this. So you might see that. And I want you to understand that even though these things are happening, you know, America's experiencing a tower card moment. Even though these things are happening, it's not bad. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the end result. I'm a little concerned about things that are going to be happening as we get to the end result, right? But I'm not worried at all about the end result. I see that we come through this, just like Ukraine is going to come through this. The guides have always said this. A month before the invasion started, they told you Ukraine will rise like the phoenix from the ashes. And I see beautiful modern buildings, glass buildings, beautiful modern architecture springing up in those cities that have been razed. Now, it's terrible, horrible, unspeakable that those cities were razed, but it is what it is. It happened. And now Ukraine is going to rebuild better than ever. This is where America is. This is where we are. We're going to rebuild better than ever. We simply cannot afford to keep shellacking over our problems. We need to sit down and have a very sober moment and look at them and own them and then fix them and then set things into place that we don't have these problems in the future. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. Take really good care of yourself. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this content and you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. Take really good care of yourself. Again, shock and awe, but take good care of yourself, okay? It's going to be fine. As usual, take breaks from the news. Take breaks from the news. And know that if you live in a red state, there's help. There's help coming. There really is. It's going to take a little while, but there is help coming. Take really good care, guys. For entertainment purposes only.